ones where people don't actually put their name in.
How do you figure out who they?
I know we
oh,
discussed it.
okay.
Okay.
But I think that was,
Oh,
where, I think what caught our attention was there wasn't a name or an address.
Okay. So, yeah, we'll talk about it in a second. Okay, we will, oh, it's back. We will call the meeting to order at 6:31. And we'll go ahead and start off, and everyone is here, I think. Yep, 100%. Yeah. And do we have any additions, deletions, or corrections to the agenda today?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'd like to add to the agenda an item concerning lodging tax as under old business.
Okay.
Possibly, it would be for CIP. That would be an
So-
A1
6B?
or B, yeah, 6B.
Okay.
And I would like to add, it's referred to in the minutes from the last meeting, 5B. At the Board of Trustees meeting, immediately prior to that Planning Commission meeting, Jane, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought Trustee Stevens wanted us to come up with an actual procedure, the actual checklist.
To send, or the letter to
Yeah.
send to the Myers.
Yeah, I was gonna write a letter
Yeah.
to them,
Yeah, but the letter was to, follow, and the procedure to follow should they wish to pursue the issue. Well, the procedure, we need to put, the Planning Commission needs to put that together. And then, I guess, stepping back just one step from that, is that something the Board of Trustees wants us to do, or is it just Tyler who wants us to do?
That's something the board wants you to do, is
Okay,
just
alright.
send a letter, because that was their
Well,
question, is
but-
what's the procedure?
But Tyler's was a little bit different. He wanted us to put that procedure together. So there's a checklist that will identify the requirements that somebody wanting to purchase a right-of-way or town property would have to go through.
If you can pull that together
Okay.
for them, I think
Okay.
that's a good
So,
idea for the future
then-
anyway.
I don't know, it needs to be on the agenda. I'll start working on that.
Okay,
And then we can put it on a future agenda for discussion.
okay,
Okay.
that sounds good.
Anything else anybody would like to add or delete? Okay,
Move to approve the agenda as amended.
I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I think that was all 5 of us.
5-0.
Okay. Does anybody want to make any changes to the minutes from September 27th? Or does anybody have any corrections? So that's a no?
Looks good to me.
Okay.
Move to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
I'll abstain since I wasn't there.
Yeah, good idea.
More than.
You don't watch them minutes on YouTube video?
No, the wind was blowing in my hair.
Okay, is there anyone here who is not on the agenda that would like to speak? Okay, we'll keep on moving then. Next is deck replacement at 6855 Park Avenue. Bill Adcock,
Yes.
do you get up? Ready, please.
Yes, Donald Lester contracted me, or contacted me, I should say, approximately 2 months ago, and we since signed our contract about 2 weeks ago. And I've actually taken care of all of the regional building department's requirements. I actually already have the permit.
Okay.
Because it's a simple one, we're not changing anything about the footprint or the size of the deck in any way. It's just simply a replacement because her old deck is just rotten to the core, basically.
Okay. And do you know what the setbacks were?
Yeah, it's the standard, I can't remember if King Mountain Falls is not standard. But regional building took it as the standard 25-foot rear setback and 15 and 15 on the sides.
Okay.
And there was no dispute with that in the record, so that's what I listed as a setback, which she clearly has on the property.
Okay.
So,
And yeah, if they went with 15, 25, that's greater than a lot of ours, but
yeah, I know, in Green Mountain Falls setback can be a tricky issue. She's got one of the lucky lots.
Depends on how big the lot is.
Yeah, exactly.
okay, and I think that was the main thing we were concerned about was setbacks.
Of course.
And if you're not changing it and you've got if you paid the building fee to Renee.
Yep.
Then you should be good to go, I think.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any?
Same as with 2 meetings ago
With Max?
with Max.
Yeah.
For our copy, if you could attest that it meets the setbacks or you're not changing the setback.
And I think we have that in an
Because-
email from them.
Okay.
Right.
So,
Yep.
All right.
But if you need further evidence of that, I'd be happy to provide it. But, I mean, since it is the same footprint.
Same footprint, so I mean.
The deck is 10 feet out from the house.
We went through this
Yeah.
6 months ago where somebody's was encroaching.
Okay.
And so it was a non-conforming use,
Mhm.
and then rebuilding it exactly as it was.
Right,
Wasn't gonna happen.
Was permissible.
Yeah,
yeah.
but at the same time, it's Green Mountain Falls, so sometimes you'll see a deck and you're like, hey, that's actually on someone else's property, so.
Yeah. No, I've built a couple on Belvedere where, I mean, if you do anything, it's gonna be right on the road.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
this isn't one of those exceptional
Okay.
cases. It's,
Yeah, and I appreciate you coming in. That's really what we wanted to know is make sure the setbacks are good.
Yeah.
And that it wasn't encroaching on anyone's property.
Yeah.
And I think this is the improvement location, or the location.
No, that's for, yeah.
This is the next one?
Short term.
Oh, it is, sorry. Just-
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
never mind.
yeah, she's, like I said, she does have one of the larger lots around.
Yeah.
So, it falls well within the setbacks.
Okay.
but, yeah.
So I guess if you could just write a note to Renee or email Renee, if you haven't already, I keep the number. Just saying that you attested met the setbacks.
Yeah, no, I haven't officially, I mean, we discussed this, but I'll get something in writing
Okay.
and submit that.
Yeah, if you can do that, we'd appreciate it,
Okay, absolutely.
since you're not changing it.
Yep, absolutely.
Anybody else have any questions?
No.
Okay,
All right,
good to go.
thank you.
And,
So,
yes,
so that it's official, I'll make a
you're
motion.
good.
Make a motion to approve the plans as submitted, contingent on a letter to be
Yeah.
emailed to
Second.
concerning the setbacks.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and on to what may be very fun. Public hearings are sometimes exciting. So, do you guys wanna start the public hearing and then discuss everything?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we're gonna go into a public hearing at 6:40. And so if there are neighbors here that would like to say something about the deck, I mean, not the deck, the vacation rental, we'd appreciate it if you get up to the podium.
Or do you want to hear the applicant from the applicant first?
I think we can hear from the applicant last.
Okay.
Unless there's no one that wants to get up. Okay,
I would appreciate hearing some description of the details of the vacation, this is the vacation rental?
yes,
Okay, my name is Jake Keto, I have the property at 10640, right below James. The vacation, what are the guidelines on vacation rentals? I was unable to find those in the town statutes. If the applicant can put forth something for it, that would be a easier way to start the process from
okay,
an uninhibited or unfamiliar
great.
perspective.
Yeah, no, yeah, so if you could get up and just kind of describe what you're doing and.
Okay.
Appreciate that.
And Jay, you bought a recriminate
Yes.
place? Okay, we met, and
Yes, quite a bit ago,
Yeah.
but I'm not around as much, so.
I had a map when I was here the first time, and I don't have a map. By chance, can either you? So anyway, my name's John Bell. I own the property at 10691 and 10693. The large brand house at the top of Illinois.
Yes.
And then 10693, the property that's being requested for a vacation rental, is accessed from the same driveway. So you enter the driveway, continue around, and it's adjoining property. So one of the questions is concerning parking. So parking is within the property. So I believe that there's three plotted lots that are associated with those two structures. And so all the parking is off street, is within the driveway, and the parking structure is right there.
Okay.
It's a 1-bedroom, 1-bath. Cabin. I haven't measured it, but it's somewhere in the 600 to 700 square foot range. And it's been owned by my wife and I in 2009. Prior to that was Chuck and Marcia Bonwell. They used it strictly for family use, and that's what we've done since 2009. Prior to Chuck and Marcia owning it, Chuck and his brother, Bill, owned it as young men, and then when their father passed away, they acquired it. So it's been family property since sometime in the 60s. I don't know exact dates.
Fairly similar to my situation.
I don't know. What else would you like to know?
Okay, I just, the definition of a vacation rental seems to be a specific character here. And I'm not familiar with that from other locations in Colorado or Vermont where I used to live. Is a vacation rental a specific period or term or?
We use the term short-term rental, and it's for lodging that is for less than 30 days.
Okay.
30 days or less.
Less than 30.
Less than 30, yeah.
Very familiar with that. Okay, thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
In addition, they have specific rules with short-term rentals concerning, how the trash has to be taken care of, so it's not bringing in the bears. Fire pits, you guys have rules on,
We usually, if it has a fire pit, we usually say we'll approve it.
so you won't be having that.
I think the only time we've approved fire pits is if they're the propane kind that,
Mhm.
that are not gonna have surprise stuff, so.
And the last time that John was here, he said it was pretty much limited to couples, is that
Yeah,
right?
it's pretty, there's 1 bedroom, and
Yeah.
so
You're not gonna have a family.
it's not gonna be a family situation. It's gonna be one bedroom. So I market it towards couples, maybe with a small baby, but really it's not a family situation.
One of the things we try to make sure people have, it's not always the case because it's Green Mountain Falls, but we usually prefer if people have off-street parking, and he does in this case, so.
Yeah, I was just curious because the number of vacation rental signs has gone up astronomically in the last couple of years. And I didn't know whether you were tying us into Airbnb or something like that.
Considering the vacation rental by owner website, that would probably be my mechanism.
Yeah.
For rental.
Okay.
It's winterized, but my intent is May to October.
Getting someone around that extra driveway might be a little bit dicey at times. Is there any do you have any statistic on how many properties are set up in that fashion? Now,
36.
bang.
Jay, are you
You need some
familiar?
time to think about that? So 36 out of probably 200 properties in the town? 450.
Yeah, 450.
And some of them are rented pretty regularly during the summer, and then some are like Chris Cassie's right below you, where they're rented out hardly ever, but he has it more just to accommodate friends that come in. So it varies all across the board from barely used, just following the rules to rented probably every week.
All right, thank you.
So,
May you have a copy of the list of rules? Did we get a copy of the house rules?
I have house rules that I've drafted.
He
Okay.
drafted them up after.
Would you like a copy?
Yes, please. Would you let this gentleman see it?
Yeah. And you want a copy?
I do.
Yes. And so, these are just recently drafted. I feel certainly subject to revision as we get people in there and sort of recognize, some of the constraints. They follow, your guidelines pretty closely. There's not mention of there is a wood burning fireplace, I need to consider that. There's not an exterior wood pit. Garbage is my big concern. Underneath the structure, there's a small basement. I think temporarily that's where excess trash will be stored. I was initially, last time I was here, I was considering having people bring it down to the main house, but that may feel like too much of an inconvenience for people. So if they can bring it to the basement, I can get it from there and bring it into the main house.
does anybody else have any more questions?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
maybe you want to look at the list of findings?
Well, I'm running the public hearing part right now, so we're still in the public hearing.
Yeah, but he's on the stand here, he can answer the questions.
Okay. We'll pull up the list of findings, unless you have them
No.
more readily available than I do.
And just so you know, 9 letters were sent out, 4 were returned.
Okay.
3 were yes, 1 was no. And I don't have a response from Mr. Kita.
Does that
I'm gonna say
include
yes.
input from Newberry?
I'm sorry.
Does that
Yeah.
include your
You got
input
it.
from Newberry? Oh, I'm sorry.
That includes
That was-
Mayor Newberry's.
Okay, got it, thank you. Got it,
And
thank you, Jane.
do you have a copy of the requirements? I don't have one in my
Want
desk.
me to go get the code book?
No, it's
I
in
was
there,
trying to
it's
find it.
708, I think,
So no way. I know you know it off the top of your head.
and that's close.
One more second, sorry.
He's bringing this to you, so it'll be in minutes. The one that we approved. Because the findings have to be in the minutes.
Right, I'm just trying to find them again. I think in the past, we've just read them off of the, we've read them off of the application, so.
Maybe it's 711. Yeah, 712, no,
710,
710.
it's special uses, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so we'll read them off again.
Yep.
And the petition conforms to the requirements of the zoning ordinance. The use conforms to the requirements. The use conforms to the requirements of the zoning ordinances. The use is consistent with the goals and objectives of the master plan. Neighboring land uses are compatible with the contemplated use. The use will not result in oversensitive use of the land. The use will not result in undue traffic congestion or traffic hazards. The use will not be unreasonably detrimental to the public health, safety, or welfare. So those are the 7 requirements.
Looks like we're okay.
And so I don't have any questions based on this. Do any of you guys?
No.
Okay. So unless anybody else would like to speak, I think we're gonna go ahead and close the public hearing at 6:50. So does anybody on the planning commission have comments, questions? No? Willie?
The house rules,
They conform.
I think there's something that's missing, but I'm not sure what, and I don't have.
Well, there was some stuff that was based on different houses.
Yeah, unique, site-specific,
Yeah,
unique, wildlife trash, the noise.
That's, direct rules.
There was something about the stream that isn't applicable to my piece of property, and there's a piece about gas cooktops, which wasn't applicable because it's electric.
yeah. I was gonna say, I don't think everything's applicable to every home.
I agree, it was just, there was that which we want to apply
Right.
uniformly.
But I think not all of them, some of them just don't have to be in there. But I think everything that we wanted, we would prefer be in house rules is in there. So are you thinking about something, or are you good with
No.
making a motion?
I'm good, it's just, having the house rules finalized.
Yeah, I think those are the finalized house rules.
I think, John, you indicated those were,
Well, what I indicated was, those are a
Subject
draft, once we, have residents and
Yeah.
something needs to be added, then
Yeah,
certainly.
you might add on to them once you actually have.
adding on
experience.
is fine.
Okay.
Removing would be what I might get concerned about.
Okay. And just for my own clarity, if there is a change, a deletion of the house rules, does that come to the planning commission?
No, the ones that are, there's the restaurants and the septic system. I don't think the planning commission in our discussions saw a need, from our perspective, to have those on the house rules, but clearly,
Well, we're not gonna require them, but yeah, they're benefits.
but it's the other one, so the outdoor grills. The open fires or flame, not so much flame, but open fire, as well as, smoking. Do you have an area in the back porch, the driveway, I'm gonna presume is fairly well protected from a fire, but do you have a designated smoking area that is free from combustible? Something that, that's a particular requirement that I would want to see imposed on any short-term rental. That if you do permit outdoor smoking, that you have provided a safe environment for them to do that in.
Can you define that?
I think we,
And
I think that's
so the
what the
drive-
fire department defines.
Well, the clerk has samples of house rules that we've approved for other STRs.
Yeah.
But I don't think they were any more specific than that smoking wise, so I don't think that answers Tulo's question.
One item that's on many house rules is parking,
Mm-hmm.
and this is missing on this one because the parking is so obvious and not on the road
Right.
like many rentals are. So that is, I think, on property specific, just as we discussed. Parking in this case is missing because there's not an idea, unless it's an exceptionally long RV, that is going to be sticking out the road.
Wouldn't anyway.
You'll be very good RV
Would provide entertainment for the other neighbors.
If someone wanted to park at the top of Illinois, it would be a bit of a hike for them to, most people aren't that ambitious, so I don't think they're gonna want to.
I guess when you finalize these, or if you edit these, I guess I'd like to see something about open fires. And you may be able to have such control over that you physically can keep that from happening.
Well, if you don't have a fire pit outside, you don't have open fires.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's usually a general principle that if there's not a fire pit outside, you're not supposed to have a fire.
True, it just,
And no matter what
That's-
your house rules are, if you have someone that's a rude guest, all you can do is go out there and tell them you have to stop. I mean, you can only make so many rules, I think.
It's a good point, though. I will just make it more explicit that open fires aren't permitted, even though there's not a fire ring or any provision for that.
some people might get creative, I mean, they do that up when they go hiking, you see the fire rings.
People bring their bunches.
On the back porch and driveway area.
Yeah,
So that's-
and I mean, there are times where smoking is supposed to be banned outside too. When there's a red flag.
Yeah, when it's
So,
Friday morning.
but that can't really be in the house rules. I think everything looks good. There's 3 people, well, four people, 4 neighbors that are for it, 1 against.
Now, Jay, did you send a letter in?
I did not realize that the letter was used as a feedback mechanism, so I don't have it written.
But you can do it in person.
Personally, I would say this is fine and it clearly meets the zoning rules, so you're gonna add me to the yes side.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, what's the section? You read off
710,
7:10.
16, 710.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the application. I recommend to the board that they approve the application. And that our findings find it complies with section 710 with the condition that the house rules be finalized and submitted to the clerk for approval.
When you say finalized, what does that mean?
Indicated
Mentions
that it
some
was-
deficiencies.
Okay. I'll second that. All those in favor? So, that's unanimous, and this is probably the fastest public hearing we've had, I think,
That's good.
that I can remember. It's a good thing.
So you sent out nine letters, 4 were returned, and 1 verbal.
So 3 were yes, 1 was no, and now we have a verbal of 1, yes.
So 4-1.
Correct.
And I think, some of the complaints on the one that was no, I think we will be addressing some of those with the new short-term rental policies. That'll help with that, it'll get defined, you have recourse when something goes wrong. So,
John, if you're aware that we have been working on.
Yeah,
Okay.
Renee let me know that there's revisions in place. Yes.
okay, so I think we're all done with this. Jake, your turn to go, Matt. Additional 3 feet onto your project at 6830.
Shortly after I started the project, the owner called and asked for a couple of changes. One was to add 3 feet on the, I guess you'd have to call it the east side of the deck, which would add about 60 square feet of deck space. He also asked to change the staircase from the upper cabin to the lower cabin. And that really doesn't involve you, but it may be a structural issue for me. That doesn't involve you at all. But in my conversation with the building inspector, I'm gonna have to provide some engineering for him to satisfy his concern about the extra length on the span, and he asked me to make sure that I get okay from you folks, so that we're all on the same page. And he didn't have a problem with the extra square footage. He was more concerned about the ability for the structure to carry the weight that the extra 3 feet will add.
What does that put you into setback wise on that side?
It still meets the setback by a couple of feet.
Okay,
They have a rickety old fence there, like a picket fence, that they're gonna replace with a split rail in the spring, but that won't affect anything.
Mhm.
So there really is, effectively, there's no change except for the extra. And if we need to come up with some more money for the use tax, I don't have a problem with that. I'll compute that and give it to you.
yeah, but that's between you and me. We don't have to worry about that.
I'll battle you, Mark.
So, I mean, in the past, I haven't really been here for revisions to plans that we've
There's
already
a
approved.
first revision that I've done.
Yeah,
So you're adding a 3 by 20 roughly?
Correct.
It is,
There was an area that was about 20 feet long, projected 7 feet out from the house, and they asked to have another 3 feet.
okay, okay. Does regional need, are they gonna require stamped plans to show that?
No, he just wanted me to make sure that I got what he understood. And I suppose I probably will, if you okay it, then I probably will ask for a document that I can show him along with the engineering that I'm gonna provide.
Do you have something with you now, or you got this one by?
I'm sorry?
Do you have plans now that show the revision?
I don't.
Okay.
I can provide them.
Okay.
yeah, I think we would need to see revised plans.
That's fine.
And I would prefer if you show setback on there.
I'm sorry?
If you put setback on there,
Sure.
I would appreciate that.
Sure.
So, anybody else?
Good.
Okay, yeah, if we could see those plans again, we'd appreciate it, Mac.
Fair enough.
I think just so that it's on the books, that setback is good and, nobody questions it later.
Do you want this on the November 8th agenda then, or are you just gonna have him bring it in?
Does anybody have a problem with Mac bringing him in as long as the setback's good?
That's fine.
Yeah, just so we can drop him by with your name.
Thank you. How about the use tax? Do you want to pay the 60 square feet?
I have no idea how much that costs.
Does the regional collect that?
Regional collects it, I don't. That's why I said I'd battle you for it. They collect it and then they send us the check.
Gotcha. Okay.
If you want to pay a slice,
Well, it's a pass-through for me, but really doesn't
yeah.
make a difference to me, so.
If all of a sudden the whole planning commission has iPads to look at the code, you know what? So, the CIP. Oh, wait, sorry,
Lodging
6B, lodging tax, sorry.
I asked to have a minute to agenda, just to mention, lodging tax increase. It will be ballot question 2E on the ballot for all the voters, eligible voters in town. And El Paso County has issued this, when the state does this, they call it the Blue Book. El Paso County calls it Notice of Election to Increase Taxes, Increase Debt on a Citizen Petition or Referred Measure. This pamphlet contains information on ballot issues as required by Colorado Constitution. And in here, this is the page that talks about our lodging tax increase. It has arguments for and against. This will go to all of our Green Mountain Falls voters so they can evaluate what they want to vote on. That's ballot question 2E. Renee,
Mhm.
ballot question 2E.
That's it?
Yep.
Okay. Just making sure. So now we'll move on to the CIP. I think you sent us
Right.
into that.
Before I open up the discussion on CIP, I would like to recognize the VIP who has joined us tonight. His name is John Pick, sitting over there. He is our interim town manager.
Cool.
And I'm pleased to say he has an outstanding resume. He got good support from our selection committee, and I was pleased to see that he has a long, distinguished history on capital improvement planning for several municipalities. So he's well versed in CIP. So, Capital Improvements Program, CIP we call it. What is it? For the benefit of the audience, CIP is a 10-year plan for major construction and repair projects. It is used to help the town board plan their annual operating budget. The annual operating budget has been a 1-year look. They're striving to make it an 18-month look. So this is valuable for them in their planning of how to use the taxpayers' funds. The Town Capital Improvements Program is a multi-year listing of projects in line item form. Provides a long-term look at requirements for construction and major repairs. The town has had a CIP now for over 20 years. CIP has been updated every year. It is now time to update it again. We have already had a couple of sessions on this, and the town board has had a chance to look at our first drafts. The CIP is an important part of the town comprehensive plan. Although the comprehensive plan should be updated about every 10 years, the CIP should review and be updated annually. It's an indicator for measuring progress and achieving goals and objectives of the comprehensive plan. It is a comprehensive plan document. The Planning Commission is responsible for developing the CIP, and then forwarding it to the town board as a recommendation. The town board is not obliged to comply with the CIP. They can change it if they wish. When we develop the CIP, we look at several things. The urgency, develop a priority of the line items. Take a look at possible funding possibilities. And by the way, I'm sorry, I forgot to say, there are copies of the CIP on the lectern here for anybody in the audience who'd like to follow along. And all members of the Planning Commission can provide a copy. Town manager, town clerk, have a copy. Thank you, Juan. Anyone? We now have before you the latest version, draft version, 11 October, 11 a.m. this morning. So it's hot off the press. The town board is now working on the 2017 operating budget. They handed out a draft at their last town board meeting last week. It looks like this. And for the first time, they have incorporated the CIP in the annual operating budget and listed the CIP projects by department, each department's sub-portion of the operating budget, which is an outstanding move. There are a few errors that we'll point out to them by separate email, but we will provide them with this new document so they can correct the 2017 budget. Yep.
I thought we were putting the audio visual on 2016.
Well, we'll go through line items
Okay.
later. I'll get there.
Okay.
Okay, tonight the planning commission needs to review the latest line item listing and prioritize 2017 and send that information to the town board for their finance committee to consider. I will now try to describe quickly these line items, specifically 2017.
Before you start on that, Dick,
Sure.
the board has asked that the lake items be moved to 2018 because that's when we think all of the grant money will be
Yeah,
available.
that's the next on my list.
Okay,
But for people to decide whether the projects should be moved up or down, they have to know what's in the line items. There's no way to put a description for all of them here, so I'll try to cover that quickly. Repair sprinkler system and resod under 2017, the first item. Many of you may know that we don't have any grass left, the sprinkler system doesn't work. So that is recommended for a high priority. The lake, repair the outlet, there was a temporary fix made there, we drained the lake, did the dredging, there's still some more work left to do. Right now, the outlet just, oh, here he is.
Well, hello.
We're talking about repair lake outlet.
Oh.
Just perfect timing.
I try to make it.
This is Tom, he was in charge of the temporary fix there, but the wall has to be replaced. It's cracked and it's falling into the lake. And I don't know if we need to increase the size of the outlet or do anything to the culvert that goes to the stream. Can you comment on that?
Yeah, well, I think, because I got your message, sorry, I apologize, I was traveling
Okay.
today, so, I don't know what comes out here. Yeah, initially, what we did, the sluice gate that goes in there with the valve in it, wasn't sealing, and that's why it couldn't fill it up for a while. So that's actually been repaired to the point where it'll last as long as it needs to for now, but the wall is in disrepair. There was talk of also lowering the weir height a little bit, so that is adjustable, that's not too difficult to do. And it is adjustable, that'll set your lake height as well, so depending on how high it is.
After heavy rains, we've been getting a lot of water in the lake. One time it almost flooded the islands, so we need to improve the outlet.
Yeah, I think part of sort of the bigger scope was actually get that all, that entire wall is just crumbling back there, so that would be part of the whole overall redo. Sorry, I'm going in the middle.
This is Citizen Tom Hughes. He's an expert, he's a professional lake designer. We're glad to have him on our Parks Committee.
So, but yeah, for now, it'll work and it is adjustable.
How much adjustment do you have?
A foot probably, or more, really, if you wanted to. You can take it down as low as the top of the metal plate that goes in there. And that's pretty easy to deal with. So, I think there was talk about lowering another 4 inches. Basically, I set it up so that there's a 4x6 that is behind the actual seal, the rubber seal itself, and that can be adjusted. So if it needs to be lowered, you can take it out and put a smaller board in there, take it out all together, you pick up another 6 inches. And part of the problem, which is always had, is that little gate that goes there. The debris gets stuck in that gate, and that causes the back pressure and lake level goes up. So again, that will be addressed probably with the whole redo. So anyway,
Thank you.
just happened to.
Next item is park, gazebo park. Oh, excuse me.
Yes, sir.
When you mentioned about debris being caught in there, is there any reason to think about a grizzly?
What's a grizzly? I'm sorry.
A grate in front to keep the debris from coming in?
There's a couple ways. A good way the way it is now, if I was to leave it structurally the same, is actually build a basket that's below water level. Then the debris would actually fall into a basket, and then that wouldn't create any pressure differential on the surface, and then you always basically have the same lake height. The other way to do it is if that gets redone. I mean, my 2 cents is that hole is actually probably pretty dangerous. I mean, I don't think there's ever been a problem with that. There's a 5-foot hole basically on the edge of the lake there. So I would actually eliminate that hole and make a catch basin that's shallower. And then what Dick is talking about is getting the outflow rework so that the water flows a little bit better. And not be so narrow.
I don't think we're gonna have time to design all these projects tonight.
No.
I'm just trying to tell you why there's a line item. Okay, park gazebo, park bathroom, increase in capacity. This is a line item put in by
Cameron.
Cameron. Thank you. He thinks that there's a way to increase the capacity of the bathroom, so. there have been-
We wanted to do that when we moved it.
Well, that's water over the dam now.
That probably would have been ideal, but at the time, it was adequate, but we've had such an increase in pressure on the parks, especially due to Waldo Canyon Trail being shut, that it's become more of a necessity than it
Okay.
was.
So, good.
I'd like to add that I think as an alternative to this, I think we should look at pumping it more often.
It's not a,
Before we look at, spending more capital money to expand it.
it's a composting toilet. It really shouldn't be pumped very often. It's a matter of, the liquids and solids separate and the solids go into a composter. And so the pumping isn't the issue, because the liquids actually should be not very deep, but because of the capacity, we aren't meeting the issues. So the pumping is a whole different.
Well, again, okay, I understand composting toilets, yes. But, for a approach, before we spend.
Dan, I don't think we want to design it tonight.
Excuse me.
Okay. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I got a lot of lists, a lot of them to explain here.
Excuse me, you're right.
The next item, lake repair outlet, is a duplication of the second line item, so you just draw a line through that. When I was cutting and pasting, I forgot to delete that one. Flood control, bank stabilization, the north edge of gazebo park. There's a serious undercutting of the shoreline next to the lake. And there was no project in the CIP until we just put this one in. So that one needs some attention. Really huge erosion, right?
Yes, yes.
Flood control, replace the El Paso East crossing. You want to explain that? El Paso East crossing?
Yes, the El Paso East Crossing currently has a culvert there, and it is continually overtopped with any kind of a major flood that we've had. And I asked a CDOT engineer to take a look at this, and he agreed that this was a temporary fix on this, but it would continue to happen until we had a bridge similar to the El Paso Avenue Hotel Street bridge. And so this is the reason we'd like to put this on the CIP to look at an appropriate east crossing.
Next item,
Who's the funding for that?
for which?
We're
We don't have
hoping it's the flood district.
Okay.
We don't have any funding right now. Belvedere Avenue widening and overlay. The widening is currently under design by El Paso County. It will include a pedestrian lane for safety purposes, and it's funded, so we don't have to worry about getting the money for that. Sealing basins is also a funded priority A project from Pikes Peak Regional Transportation Association. So that one is already underway. The next three items, lake divert stormwater from several of our streets, totaling $30,000, is to keep the mud and sediment, thank you, out of the lake. We just spent $60,000 dredging the lake, but we gotta take care of the problem upstream. So this is to keep the mud out of the lake, those four projects. Flood control, replace bridge at Hotel Street. That is a Fountain Creek Watershed Flood Control District Project number 26. We will not fund that. That will be funded by the district. Replace the bridge at Maple Street. If you ever go by there and take a look at the east side, you'll see that the whole bridge is starting to lean. It's gotta be taken care of soon to prevent complete failure.
Why would the bridge at Hotel Street cost $506,000 and the one on Maple Street only cost $25,000?
They're different bridges, different kinds. The one on Maple Street is across Kavanaugh Street stream, which is only a couple of feet, 3 feet wide.
Oh, yeah, that one.
And one on Hotel Street is across Fountain
So
Creek.
you're talking more like a culvert.
Much larger span.
Okay.
Cell phone tower. I stuck that in there. We don't expect that's gonna cost us any money. Mike, you wanna describe that project?
Basically, we're hoping to get one of the major providers, Sprint or Verizon or AT&T, to basically designate one of the buildings or one of the locations here in town, and then put up the tower, and then the town will be compensated for the usage of the tower. And there are 3 properties that are under consideration. One is right next to Town Hall here. The other one is the flagpole in the military,
Marshall's Park,
pardon me?
at the Marshall's Park.
Yeah, Marshall's Park, right. And then the third one was down by the firehouse, but I guess with the firehouse being in the floodplain being changed, I guess that property would probably be eliminated. So,
I thought when we had this conversation before, the decision was we would never have enough subscribers to get any of the carriers interested.
but the subscribers have gone up substantially for Sprint and for Verizon.
What was the number that was required?
500.
But
And
with
what did it
6,
go up to?
Pardon me, they've gained almost 2,000 new subscribers because of the college up here. They count subscribers they pick a point and see how many usages our calls are made in the traffic flow up and down U paths.
because at one
500
point,
is the required number, and they got 2,000 new ones. Why don't we have a cell phone?
They told me their interests would average, they needed approximately 500 new subscribers in order to be interested in placing another tower.
But you just said they had 2,000.
They gained 2,000, and that's why they once again are now interested in.
so the subscriber number is regional, as we understood before that it had to be
More
central
local, yes,
location.
right. In other words, because the providers have changed that are available here, and the number of subscribers coming up and down the pass, and that communication study has been done up in Teller County, that it's all playing. They now believe there are enough users to make another tower worthwhile, and they've reopened the acquiring a property or leasing a property to place a tower.
So we should all thank the people who are sitting on their cell phones on 24.
Exactly. But they're also the problem right now. That's why,
But we gotta strike now and get that done.
yeah.
So do those towers work for the most part line of sight?
Basically, yeah.
So
The one that,
where's the target area?
the target area
Is
is,
it the 24 corridor?
yes, 24 corridor, because we are kind of in a
Sort of bowl.
low, yeah, we can barely see the one that services Cripple Creek. The one that main one we have is right here, almost directly behind us. And that one can't service around Red Bluff, or Red Mountain, I'm sorry. And so they just want a small one that can see this one over here and then shoot straight down, all the way down to Cascade. basically.
So the reason this is in the CIP, even though it may not cost us any money, is so that we won't lose track of this capital improvement, because the planning commission will have to get involved in recommending a site to the town board. The town board will have to approve the agreement to place it within our city limits, so it's here for identification purposes. The next 4 projects are the town hall. The town hall contractor finished, we still had deficiencies. So number 1 has been identified as audiovisual. That's a line item. Other needs is a carryover from earlier CIPs. When the town hall was first completed, there was a committee that met, and they had identified about $50,000 worth of needs. I don't have a breakout on that, so we need to get that from that former committee or somebody.
Do you have like a brief summary of what that would be?
Yeah, I don't, no, I never got the list.
Okay.
Dick, I think I'll have AV done this year.
Dave, Mark?
I think I'll have AV done this year.
Okay,
So,
this is 2017.
right, no, I'm saying I think the town hall AV will be in
2016?
2016.
So I thought it was in 2016 also.
Yeah, we talked about
Source
maybe
of funds?
2016. I mean, I think we have the, I've worked out a budget for it, it's not that high, so.
Okay,
That's the last
Can
camera,
this be,
what,
Yeah.
what that looks like.
can this be procured and installed in 2.5 months?
Oh, yeah, easy,
okay,
it's pretty
so
simple.
I hear a request to move this line item to 2016.
I'm shooting for 2016,
Okay,
assuming we can find the money.
good.
We already have the most expensive part, so,
That's the building.
Okay,
no.
Town Hall Monumental Sign and Community Events Board, that's a carryover from earlier CIPs. Town Hall paved driveway and parking, that's a deficiency, we never got it in the original contract. We had a new situation where the fire district has a ballot issue for a bond issue to build a new fire station. We should probably at least ask them if they could include that paving in the bond issue, since it's really has to be paved for the fire department primarily.
They requested at the last board meeting that we consider splitting that with them, so
Oh,
we
okay.
would still carry part of the
All right,
cost,
good.
but we don't know what that is.
Okay, so that's that one. Speed control advices on gas avenues been carried over from earlier CIPs. Repair flood damage in the Honda runoff, that's a carryover. We were hoping that maybe there'd be enough PPRTA maintenance funds to take care of that. There's so much water that
Flood
comes.
damage is on the road, but is it
No,
damage to the diverter?
it's water that comes through the culvert from Hondo, comes down into the right of way for Pass Avenue and creates a great deal of erosion. So this diverter is just to
Keep the water
change,
going out.
change the direction of the water flow. Repair the contrail, that will be done by the Trails Committee, no cost to the taxpayer. Armor the West Shore and construct a new path, that will also be done by the Trails Committee at no expense to the taxpayer. Repair the altitude sign, that's been around for a long time. Yeah. Oh, thank you.
We don't have one of those.
That's a small item, $3,000, something like that. Jane, that's one probably should see if you get any 2016 funds for that.
I know that we have a lot of the, parts for that. The
Yes,
last I heard, they were working on staining it.
Yeah.
But I don't know what's happened since
yeah,
then.
so we've got that designated for 2017. It's ready to go before then. It could be moved up to 2016. And park pool, restrooms, and irrigation system has been around on our CIP for a long time, but we've been waiting for somebody to write a GOCO request for a grant. The GOCO mini grants are for $60,000. This would be a good candidate for a grant.
The way that the restroom looks, on the bidding process, we probably wouldn't have enough money for the irrigation system just for the restroom.
Matt, would you recommend we split them in two line items?
Yeah, because we've already been looking into that.
Two line items. Do they carry the same priority? Should we try to get those both in 2017?
I think the restroom has more of a priority because we've been using the same,
Can we put the irrigation system in 2018?
yeah, and I'd like to see the lake items moved to 2018 because I think that's when our grant money will be
Okay,
available.
which lake items are those?
All the lake items. Because the grant we would be working on would have that money available in 2018. Whatever starts with lake on there.
Are you talking about a grant for the lake items?
Yeah,
What grant?
we've been working on fishing is fun. We've just started the preliminary work on that and it takes a long time. It's a 2-year process.
Well, in the meantime, the lake's filling with silt. I mean,
Well, and that's what a lot of the stilling basins are gonna take care of.
And that's different.
Yeah, but diverting the stormwater isn't a repair to the lake. It benefits the lake.
It benefits the lake, but if we're talking about, how we've been talking about stilling basins should be used to slow the sediment that runs off of the street before it goes into the lake. That's gonna be part of the process.
The stilling basins require a lot of maintenance work to keep them
In here.
in deal. Whereas the diversions that we're designing, drop inlets and culverts will not require any maintenance.
Oh, they
We
still
certainly
require
do.
maintenance for sure.
Some, yes.
The culverts require a lot of maintenance, now you have to clear them out all the time.
I know.
All I'm saying, folks, is we gotta keep the silt out of the lake, and we should do it in 2017, and not wait for a fishing is fun grant.
Okay,
That's my recommendation.
I understand that, but
So I would recommend we keep it in 2017.
okay.
And I would further recommend the town board, look
Okay,
if they have any,
The board discussed at the last meeting and recommended that I bring to this body and request that the lake items be put on 2018. So I'm doing what I was requested.
Prior to, when we dredge the lake, late.
Hmm?
When we dredge the lake.
2015.
2015. Well, prior to that, what's the interval on dredging?
it was about 10 years.
So if you don't address this, if you postpone it a year, there's
There'll be some,
10% of 10 years.
about, yeah. We're getting more now than we used to. But there'll be some, probably have to have another dredging project.
But if we're redoing the lake,
Yeah.
that's gonna be part of it anyway.
Yeah, because you'd have to drain the lake to redo all the stuff,
To
right?
rebuild it,
So if you're draining the lake and you have all the stuff in there anyway, you might as well dredge it while you're in there.
and it would make no sense to not to.
Right.
Are you moving the flood control, bank stabilization then into 2018 as well?
No, because the flood control is, they're talking about on the other side, as I understand it.
Well, how about to the pleasure of the board, we can only recommend.
I'm just telling you what they asked me to bring
That's
up
fine.
Well, I have a question.
Don't shoot the messenger.
Is the
tomorrow.
diverting the stormwater, these 4 lake things, isn't that road control, like road, not really?
I listed as lake to point out, it's to solve a problem in the lake. The lake is filling up with silt.
Right.
That's why it's labeled lake.
It's gonna have a definite impact on,
The work is
Yeah.
actually gonna be done on the streets.
So
To
was your
divert-
fishing grant paid to deal with road control?
it depends on what the construction of the lake looks like. And it depends a lot on what the, design of the stilling basins is going to be. And the stilling basins were recommended to the board, years ago, 2010 maybe, as a way to keep the silt out. And yes, they are labor intensive, but if you have the public works in place, the silt drops in them, and
You
it's
still have a
just part of
means,
their,
you still have a means of cleaning them out.
it's part of their
That's the point.
maintenance is to clean them out.
They don't, they're not, the stilling basins just don't fill up with silt and then it disappears. You have to maintain it,
Right.
but at least it gives you an opportunity to have something to maintain. Because right now, there's nothing.
Yes, to have it.
I mean, it's upstream from
Yes.
a lake, where,
So it would, so if the water's coming down and pushing the silt that ordinarily goes in the lake, it gives it an opportunity to settle and drop and settle and drop. And so it can be cleaned up
I
above.
just didn't realize there was any space that you could use that way, so.
The diverters, I believe, really address the water that's in the flat part of the town that's getting into the lake from Foster and from Park, that come down, and you can see them. I mean, because I do the RC boats, you get these deltas where the water's coming down off the streets. And basically, if there was a gully along the front of like Lakeside Cottages there, to get it around the lake, you wouldn't be getting everything that's coming off of this section of town that flows actually on the street itself.
But like Hotel, you know, where it runs right down Hotel,
Right.
part of it hits a gully and part of it comes right straight through to the lake.
Yeah, and I think those were the diverters that Dick was talking about.
Well, and that's
Yeah.
fine, but I agree with Mary, a lot of that's gonna be road
Yeah.
too, and I don't know that this
I just
costs-
didn't think your money that you're talking about for the fishing would actually pay for road work. 'Cause to me, that's all about road work.
But if you're.
But the sole purpose, for the most part,
It's
is
for
to
the
keep
lake.
it, is for the lake.
Right, so.
I think one thing too is a lot of the roads we have are like 60 feet wide technically. So really, there's a lot of space that's public land next to all of our roads, even though if they're only like 15 feet wide, that they really could expand and put a stilling basin if they needed to. I mean, half my backyard is technically the road, so. And I think that's the way it is for a lot of people. Really, a large portion of what we consider our property may be actually road.
So,
But nevertheless, go on with your line items.
I think we're on to 2018, aren't we?
okay, what did we decide? We're gonna move the lake projects?
I think if we're gonna do the stilling basins one year, I think divert the lake water the next year, because they're both going to improve how much is going into the lakes. And we can do one, since that one's already funded, we can do that one in 2017, Dick. And then we can do the next one in 2018 when we have more money for it.
Okay, say that again, what stays in 2017, stilling basins?
Stilling basins, because they're funded.
Funded.
And
And
then-
then move the other 4 to 2018?
Yeah, because you're gonna have, I would think you'd have a pretty decent improvement from the stilling basins. I've had experience with them when I've been doing grounds maintenance, and they work pretty well.
I yield. I think we're down to,
Flood control. 2018.
okay, I have new information on flood control. I had a nice discussion with Larry Small, the executive director, this afternoon, executive director of the Fountain Creek Watershed Control District, Flood Control District. And I said, Larry, we got 6 projects listed for Green Mountain Falls. We need to know what's the prospect of them getting funded. And he said, we're out of money right now, we've committed all our funds that we have. So we're probably gonna have to wait on doing any of the Green Mountain Falls projects for a while. He also mentioned that, I asked him, are any of the projects designed yet? He said, no, they still have to be designed. I said, so we got design, procurement time, bidding time, award time. And I said, even if you had the money tomorrow, it would be very difficult to get any of those projects done in 2017. And he agreed, so I'd recommend that the $506 line item flood control bridge replacement for Hotel Street be moved to 2018. And subsequently, that the two moderate priority projects shown in 2018 slip to 2019. I doubt that we would get $1 million in 1 year. We're competing with 97 projects in the Upper Fountain Creek area. That's from Woodland Park to the down to Colorado Springs. So I think that'd be highly optimistic. So to face reality, I would recommend the first two items in 2018 be slipped to 2019.
Okay.
Everybody understand that? And then there's 3 in 2019. I would, the top 3 listed, recommend those be slipped to 2020. They have a realistic plan.
The first one on page 2, flood control bank stabilization behind the fire department motel.
Right.
Is that different from what the fire department did with the,
I'm sorry I put fire department in there. That was not in their project description. They're talking about behind houses in the motel.
So why wouldn't that be David Perlman's thing? Because that's his property. It's not a public property.
That's right.
The Fountain Creek Watershed Control District is raising money to take care of projects, even though the waterway may be surrounded by private property. It's to address a bigger problem.
The waterway.
And a problem where many of the landowners couldn't afford to armor the creek. So you can say they're responsible, but they never have. So I don't think the motel owner has enough money to armor this. So we should take the money that the control district's gonna offer us and not try to burden the private.
I mean, and then like the Oak Street one, you could probably buy all the houses within the Oak Street that were right next to the creek for that much money. I mean, I'm not just saying, like, if they had those two houses at the end of the creek are only worth $500,000, why would you spend $500,000 on flood control for two houses?
Because in all of this creek bank erosion, the flood control district is interested in transport of
Erosion
sediment and erosion and transport of that sediment and the impact that it has downstream.
Okay.
I invite you to go to their website because they have maps showing all these projects. And they have, for instance, upstream from us, they have sediment basins added just below Walmart and just below Safeway. And there's one down in Cristola. So they are addressing the problem of silt coming downstream. So, but they're,
I was just asking, I wasn't trying to get it off.
well, but it's a very interesting study. I think if you have time, take a look at it.
Yep.
The bridge on Oak Street, that's across the Catamount. Oh, we mentioned that before. That's the one that's, oh, Maple Street's falling into it. Oak Street was listed as eventually having to be replaced. And that one could probably move to 2020. We're gonna have a busy 2019 here. What do you think? Can we go 2020 with that one? Oak Street. That's a small stream. The bridge appears to be all right now.
Sure.
Okay.
But then we have to move back to 2018, right? Because we're not done with that.
Okay, excuse me, all right, back to 2018. The flood control we just discussed, going to 2019, replace walls east end and south end of the lake. They have failed, already partially failed, and don't know how much longer they're gonna last. Jane, was that in your concept for fishing is fun?
Sure is.
Okay. Fishing is fun.
Seems like it's been kind of packed lately with fishing, people fishing on nice days.
Right? It's true.
Lake, ground cover, the west and south banks, those have been denuded
So those
by
guys,
Public Works. And we need to put some ground cover to keep that surface soil from washing into the lake. That's that line item. Years ago, we paid money for a professional landscape architect to design landscaping for the gazebo island. That's a carryover item from earlier years. There's the upgrade for fishing is fun. Do you want to move that up to 2017, Jane?
No, we're not moving it up to 2017,
Okay,
because the grant process is about a 2-year process for this particular grant,
okay, sure, stays in 2018.
2018.
Okay. Plant trees and Arbor Day was an idea to continue a tradition we used to have. Small item, we normally do it with private donations. Trail projects are all going to be funded by the Trails Committee. Pool park, upgrade the playground, that's been a line item for many years. We haven't found a way to write the grant request. We put it at 60,000, that's the maximum for the mini grants. Flagpole Park has standpipes with heads. We really need an underground system there to do a better job. That takes care of 2018. Okay, do we want to spend time going any farther?
I think it's almost 8, so we should go ahead and move on. And then we can look at comprehensive plan next week too.
Okay, one thing we should do is take another look now at 2017 and start talking about priorities. When you talk about priorities, you have to kind of address them from how urgent is the project, how badly needed is it? Does it address a safety problem? Is it to prevent the complete failure of a structure? Does it protect property from damage, both town and private? That's like a flood control project. Or can it wait for a future year? Or is it just a nice to have project that doesn't address safety or structural failure?
do you have this in an Excel spreadsheet,
What?
this document?
No, it's in a Word
Just a Word
document.
document.
If you send me a Word, I'll throw an Excel into the back.
Okay.
So
The immediate urgency of prioritization is to give the town board's finance committee an idea where they should look for money first. The most urgent projects on this 2017 list. So if you look down the list and just pick out a few, we'll give them a high priority and tell the town board. That's our recommendation.
So how about that be our homework for next week, for us to look through these, think them over.
What's the schedule on the update of the budget, Jane?
The budget, of course, we need to have final by the first meeting in December. We would prefer to have it finalized by the second meeting in November.
Okay,
So if you did look at this, on the 25th, you have just enough time to turn it around.
okay,
I think I'd prefer that instead of trying to do it on the fly.
okay,
I think it's better for us to actually think through it.
that's fine, fine.
I have a comment.
Yes.
So I appreciate that everything on the list here, Green Mountain Falls is a stakeholder and they're, they have interest in seeing these things accomplished. I guess what's a little bit confusing is all the different pools of money. And the prioritization
I would think you'd want to focus on the monies that you actually have control of, city money. And then priority of resources in terms of where you're gonna put your energies for which grants, which lobbying situation.
Exactly.
And at least personally, I think it would be beneficial to see another column, not only with total estimate cost, but then which is coming out of Green Mountain Bowl's budget, so that,
That's the
That
last
would be
column.
nice to have an idea about.
If you look at the last
well,
column,
and I guess that's where it gets,
see the source of funding,
okay,
and if you look at the second page, you'll see a list of those sources.
very good.
So normally,
But
when this is,
your point is well put. That's exactly what we need to do, is look at this whole list and see which items we think should be considered for general fund funding in the 27 budget.
and I
2017
think
budget.
normally when Dick has this, the final version of this, when he sends it out, normally there's not quite as many comments on that edge, so it just says, you know, like a 2-digit code or 4-digit code to say where's the funding coming from.
It'd also be nice to know what is available after the town has spent
We just have.
the money that it needs for the day-to-day operations of Green Mountain Falls, what's left over, because that's the only place you're gonna find money to fund these projects, or to fund the grants for these projects.
Right, I
So,
agree.
you know, we have a $440,000 or $460,000 budget.
Yeah.
If 420 of that gets spent, it leaves you with $40,000. This seems a little ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
I agree.
I didn't hear you. What was that?
If we have 420,000 spent for day-to-day operations out of 460 budget, and only 40,000 left for projects, and if we have 100,000, it's a little ridiculous.
Well, yeah, so let's say they do have 30,000, some carryover funds, some funds that are not budgeted for 2017. Where should they spend the 30,000 on this list?
Well, how much was left over last year? What got spent on CIPs last year?
Okay, the draft budget has over $30,000 in the budget for capital improvements projects. That's probably pretty optimistic,
That's pretty optimistic.
but it's a starting point.
So, how about we go into this assuming we have 25?
Okay,
I mean, even if it's optimistic, that's okay. Let's assume we have 25, and where would we prioritize that, and then we'll come back next week and
okay,
we can put it all together.
just one additional comment. If the ballot issue passes to increase the lodging tax from 2 to 4%, it will generate approximately $19,000 for parks projects.
But, oh yeah, for parks.
Parks, town improvements,
Beautification.
that's what it was written for,
Beautification, right.
beautification.
So you couldn't use it on the grid.
No, can't use it on bridge.
Yeah, sprinklers, things to make the town look better. Yep. Are you guys okay with talking about the comprehensive plan next time?
I can do it real quick.
Well, but,
I can do it in 90 seconds.
okay,
Comp plan. Planning commission review comments received from Ellis, Blaine, Bratton, and Alexander. We don't have any comments from Cactus Caldwell yet. Could you provide those to us?
I did not, because I thought you were just putting them all together and I wouldn't.
Well, we'd like to have you have a chance to put some input too.
Actually, all the things you guys came up with was basically what,
Okay,
you guys didn't come up with anything that I didn't have
all right, good.
when I read.
We also asked the town board to give us comments, to review the plan and give us their recommendations. They had a deadline earlier, no comments were received. I recommend we give them one more chance and give a new deadline of 20 October. How's that sound? After we receive all the comments, we will invite the public to give us any comments. And after receiving all the comments, then we will be able to determine the scope of work. That's all I have to say about comp plan.
Yeah, I think waiting until our next meeting and seeing if we get anything from the board's a great idea. So we'll go ahead and move on to the letter from, I don't know how to say it for last name.
Option.
Okay, thank you.
You're on now.
On the third paragraph. About in the middle, it says, we in turn install the signs that state no turnaround, but believe it isn't noticed or is ignored, as are all of the other signs in place, such as dead end, no hyper parking. If they're ignoring those signs, why would they follow the other sign?
Are they in the greenish house?
What?
Are they in the house on the right-hand side at the top?
Yes.
Okay.
Last house on the top.
Yeah.
Summer use only, for the family, it's a family cabin.
Okay.
I've recommended to her that they put a sturdy gate across there. They tried a chain, and the first day it was up, the UPS guy got it. Boom.
They failed to notice that it say it's the UPS guy. They got it, not some hiker.
Yeah, well,
The funny thing is, that's my main access to the trails, and I hike there all the time, and I've never seen a car at the end of that road.
I haven't either. There's now 2 no parking signs at the top of Boulder. But I haven't heard of a big problem up there. Nobody's driveway's been blocked since we put those signs up. And the sign at down at the bottom of Boulder that says no hiker parking seems to be working.
Mhm.
But
Where's Mount Esther? Is that the one that goes up to the Kirkpatrick cabins?
you go past it, yes. The old
Okay.
cabin, the old cabin.
Yeah, it's the old one. Okay.
And up to the Ely's place.
And I think some of this will be, some of their problems with the no parking, once we have a marshal, I mean, I feel like that's one of the main things that the marshal's here to do, is to keep people from parking at the end of Hondo and Boulder. And once we have one, a lot of this problem will be gone. I mean, because that was one of my struggles with the old marshal, is I could be in my house all day and never see him patrolling, and I'd wonder where he was all day. Because town isn't that big. And hopefully, when we have a new marshal, we'll actually see him around town. And like, he'll be patrolling and saying, hey, you're parking here, you have to leave, here's a ticket, whatever. Which I think would benefit everyone. So, in some ways, I mean, by the time they're there next summer, I think that we'll have, I hope we'll have another marshal by then. Because even if El Paso County is able to take care of stuff like, burglaries, crimes, that kind of stuff, they're not gonna patrol parking.
I mean, they have when people have called them,
Right,
but
But not day to
it's
day.
extraordinary.
yeah. Not day to day where it's actually gonna help the residents out.
Right.
So I would be, I'll be honest, the less signs we have in town, the better. we have too many signs already. And I don't think we should be approving more signs, especially if the marshal's supposed to be approving the signs. Once we have a marshal, he knows what he's supposed to be doing. Let's wait and see how it is next summer, is my view. Because I mean, I haven't been at the committee for the marshal, but I hope that's one thing we're looking for in marshal is parking
Well,
enforcement.
I think that was I think one of the major opinions is we want someone more in town.
Okay,
As well as if you put a sign, for Boulder, you would have to put one for Hondo and Belvedere.
right, and they already have a lot of no parking signs, and that has no parking signs. If those aren't doing any good,
Exactly.
why would this one be any better? Is my view. If they're not paying attention to one sign, they're not gonna pay attention to another sign.
Comes down to enforcement.
Right, it is, it's enforcement.
Enforcement are making it so that, I mean, one of the complaints is that the wall got hit, the gas meter's been knocked over twice.
Yeah.
And, so I know they don't want it enlarged.
So could they charge the gas company to move the gas meter? Would that be their responsibility?
Well, I know a lot of the gas meters that you see near the road have two huge,
Yeah.
poles
They're
next to them.
Right.
I don't know if
Gas-
that's something,
The gas company should wanna protect their own property by putting in some kind of barrier.
yeah,
There's no barrier there now, just some bushes.
Is it possible or feasible to enlarge it?
The Trails Committee doesn't want it
No,
enlarged.
the street.
The street.
The street's supposed to be. If you provide more room for people to turn around, then people are less likely to hit walls and gas meters.
Just have more people parking there.
yeah.
We discussed that.
Well, people, whether it's wide or not, if people will park up there if they choose to.
The funny
That's where
thing
the
is,
enforcement comes
I
in.
bet if we did some checking, it wouldn't surprise me if the gas meters in the street, their walls in the street, like a lot of the places around here, so.
The
But
gas meter is in the street right away.
Yeah.
Their driveway comes down into the street right away.
But I think, if they want to put a gate up, they'd have to put it up on their property, not on the
Yes.
right of way, which
Yes.
would probably give people room to turn around.
Well, that's still be pretty tight.
I don't know, that's,
The gas company has always put the gas, up until recently, the gas company has always put the gas meters at the street because it was easy for the meter readers to read them.
right,
The trend has changed so that the new construction, the gas meters are up at the house.
Yeah.
Sure. Because they don't read them from the street
Right,
anymore.
they just
read
drive
them
by.
over the telephone.
Yeah.
So that's changed. The problem still remains. And where there are gas meters next to the street, that's where the gas meter is gonna be. The gas company's not gonna come out and move the gas meter anywhere unless they get paid to do it.
right, I'm not saying they are, I'm just,
They're looking for the money, Mac.
yeah, but either way, I think this is something we need to wait for a marshal and when we have parking enforcement, then a sign will matter. Right now, it's not going to.
I would suggest though to think about in the future, we have a lot of no parking signs. It would be really nice if Trails parking was designated.
Yeah.
The parking lot behind, on the other side of the lake would be
Mhm.
great to have that designated. I think a lot of people don't even know that
Well,
exists.
and one of our Trails parking lots right now, one people use to go up off the mountain is, there are like 6 cars in it every day.
Right? It's parked full all the time.
Yeah, and there are cars that are there all the time, so.
So I think, thinking ahead, we should think about positively designating where
Right.
parking is.
Well, that was
As long
part of.
as long as they read parking here for hiking and nowhere else.
And nowhere else.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, that was one of the ones,
You restrict the parking, so that's not overnight.
Right.
You make a statement that that's not overnight parking.
Right,
Yeah,
for trails use only.
well, I think there's some places we need to do that anyway
Yeah,
right
I
now.
think so.
But it was funny because Dick was talking about camping last week and someone was camped in one of the parking lots for about a week.
Parking lot, where?
The one down by Mountain. And
Yeah.
Spruce.
Yeah,
That's county parking lot.
It's been inside of our,
No.
it's inside of our sign though.
A lot of people don't realize. When we wanted to have a town effort sign,
Mhm.
it would have been right in the front yard of that last house on the left
Yeah.
hand side. So we talked to Connie and said, yeah, go ahead and put it.
Yeah.
Put it on our property.
Never mind.
So the town line, it goes right,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right through the property for that house, last house on the left.
Cool.
So that's not our lot.
Okay. So what do you guys think about this? We can respond to her and say, there's, you know, basically, there's no parking signs up there. We're getting a marshal. One of his tasks will be enforcing this, and that's,
Everybody has to deal with that at the moment. And
Yeah.
People in the Belvedere and
Hondo. Yeah. But something along those lines.
Yeah.
And I'll of course send it to you for approval before I send it out. I'm a programmer, I can't write stuff. Okay, so I think we're done with everything for the night. Thank you guys all for bearing with us, staying around for a while, coming back from your vacation for a second.
Okay, homework, just to prioritize 2017.
Yep.
you're gonna send Eric the Word document.
Eric, what time are we adjourning?
Oh, sorry, we're adjourning at 7:40?
8:07.
Oh, yeah, sorry,
Everybody did something.
yeah, 8:07.
Analog clock.
You should have included a commendation to Dick. He made his 90-second limit by 8 seconds.
Oh.